A very warm greeting to all the viewers. I am Mukta Tiwari, Assistant Professor, B.Ed Department, IIMT College of Science and Technology, Greater Noida. The topic for today's live session is Thorndike's theory of learning. So, this theory was given by the Edward Thorndike. He was an American psychologist who developed learning theory that leads to the development of operant conditioning within behaviorism. He followed the approach of behaviorism. He is also known as father of educational psychology. He was the first person in the field of educational psychology who has started experiment on animal in clinical condition. So Thorndike was pioneer not only in behaviorism and in studying learning, but also in using animal in psychology experiment. He was the first to study the subject of learning systematically using standardized procedure and apparatus. He believed that all learning is the formation of bond or connection between stimulus and response. As we have said that he was the first one who followed the behaviorism. He was the first one who has started that all learning leads because of there is a connection between stimulus and response. So, overview of Thorndike theory. This theory is also known as connectionism, pleasure and pain theory, or trial and error theory. Thorndike's research focused on the connection between stimulus and response, which is commonly known as SR theory of psychology. In his research, Thorndike's goal was to understand how learning occurs and how their learning can be applied to human, particularly in the field of education. So Thorndike theory of learning, also known as law of effect, that state that behavior that is followed by the positive consequences is more likely to be repeated, while behavior that is followed by the negative consequences is less likely to be repeated. This theory is based on the idea that learning is a gradual process that occurs through trial and error. Thorndike believed that learning occurs when there is a connection between stimulus and response, and that this connection becomes stronger with repetition. There is an association between stimulus and response. So learning is the result of strengthening of the connection between stimulus and response. More response is reinforced, the stronger the connection between response and stimulus become prominent. So his experiment, which is very famous in the name of puzzle box experiment. So Thorndike's experiment on cat in a puzzle is widely known and often quoted in psychology of learning. The experimental setup was very simple. A hungry cat was confined in a puzzle box, and outside the box, a dish of food was kept. The cat in the box had to pull a string to come out of the box. So the cat in the box made several random movements of jumping, dashing, and running to get out of the box. So at last, the cat succeeded in pulling the string. There was a lever which this cat has to learn how to press this lever to open this door, which he has given the name puzzle box. So after lots of effort, after lots of trial and make some trial, the cat was done lots of tryout. He finally succeeded in pulling the string. So he promptly put the cat to next trial. The cat again gave a lot of frantic behavior, but soon succeeded in pulling the string. So he repeated this experiment several times, and he noticed as the repetition increases, the error also reduced. That is, Thorndike's cat shows slow, gradual, and continuous improvement in performance over successive trial. He concluded that learning of cat in the puzzle box can be explained in terms of formation of direct connectionism between stimulus and response. His another experiment, which is known as the maze experiment, is also very famous. So as we know, these are the maze. There are several types of maze, but in all the maze, there is a provision of only one route to reach the goal. These are the starting point, and this one is the goal. This experiment was done on the rat. So the objective was that the animal learned to reach the goal through right path. Wrong path is called blind ally. So Thorndike concluded several experiments on maze with rat as his subject. In maze, there is a goal in which food and water was provided for animal. So a hungry rat was placed in the maze to reach the goal. So this experiment was also same as the puzzle box experiment. So after several trial and error, the rat could learn to reach the goal through correct path. So what is the feature of trial and error learning theory? So we can say the learning is a gradual process which we can get to know, which we learn by trial and error. So for learning to occur, the learner must be definitely motivated. Without motivation, we cannot learn anything. So the learner make random and variable response. Some response do not lead to the goal, which we can say that is we experience an annoyed response, annoyed experience. But some response lead to the goal, which we can say satisfied response. With the increase in the number of trials, the annoying response will tends to be eliminated and satisfying response will be strengthened and repeated, which is also known as we can say connection and selection and connection of correct response. Connection means those response which help us to reach our goal or which is right for the given stimulus, give a satisfying effect. We select that response, and after several trial and error basis, we connect that response to that stimulus. The time taken to perform the task, it means to repeat the satisfying response, decreases with several trials. Just as the number of response is increases, or we can say as we try more, we take more trial, the error is decreases. On the basis of this experiment, which was done by the Thorndike on rat as well as cat, we can conclude what is the stages in the process of learning. So the first one is drive. What is the requirement which force us to learn anything? So drive. What is drive? Drive is an essential condition for learning which motivate and direct the learner. So in this case, in both the experiment we have talked about, is hunger is the drive which motivate the animal to learn how to pull the door. For example, in case of puzzle box experiment, the fish was put outside the case, and the hungry cat was put in that puzzle box. So here hunger is the drive which motivated the cat to learn how to open the door, how to press that lever to open the door and get the food. So obstruction in the satisfaction of drive. What is obstruction? In when the need are not easily satisfied. the organism become active and show effort to achieve it. It means he try many things to get satisfaction, to achieve his goal, to achieve his objective. So this activity, or we can say trial and error behavior, helps the organism to achieve the goal. That is, his goal directed behavior help him to learn a task or work. So next stage in the process of learning is random movement. The cat, or we can say in maze experiment, the rat, both have done a several undirectional movement. So the cat or learn can know how to open the door to satisfy his hunger. So she has done lots of effort by moving here and there, by pushing that rod, or by random movement. The next stage is accidental success. In course of random activities, sometimes accidental success is achieved. This appropriate response, which was accidental, was repeated time and again by the cat, and it learned to open the door. The cat has done several directional movement. In undirectional, in one of the during undirectional movement, which is done by the cat, one action, one response in one random response, cat the lever was pressed by the cat. By doing this, by trying this, gradually cat got to know, by pressing this lever, this door can be opened. So gradually, by and by, she learned how to open the door by selecting the correct response. Next one is selection of the right response. Out of several random responses, the cat learned to select the appropriate response, which helped it to come out of the puzzle box and to get the food. But thus, during the course of learning, the cat and the rat attempted to select right response for satisfaction of their need. What was his need? The food was his need. And on that response, she or he fixed the right response. So we can say through this experiment, Thorndike explained that the learning is nothing but the stamping in of correct response and stamping out of incorrect response through trial and error. So this was all about Thorndike basic concept of learning, and his experiment, which was done on rat and cat. On the basis of that experiment, Thorndike has given a law of learning. His law of learning, his law is divided into two major portions. First one is principal law, second one is subordinate law. This law is also known as primary law and secondary law. In primary law, there are three laws, and in secondary law, there are 5 laws. So in primary law, there are law of readiness, law of effect, law of exercise. Whereas in subordinate law, the first one is principle of multiple response. Second one is principle of mental set or attitude, principle of prepotency of element. Fourth one is principle of analogy. And fifth one is principle of associative shifting. So, law of readiness. What is law of readiness? Readiness implies physical and mental preparation to undertake a task. How a learner is mentally as well as physically ready to learn a new task, to learn a new theory, or to learn anything. So we can say readiness is the basis of learning. The more eager a person is to accomplish or take, the quicker he or she learn. If the person is in a state of readiness, at once assimilate the material concerning job. A person who is not ready to learn cannot learn effectively. So, law of readiness, where learner is ready mentally as well as physically ready to learn new thing. If he's not ready to learn, if he's not ready, you cannot mug up knowledge. For learning, the basic requirement is the readiness of learner. What is the educational implication? To motivate the student and to arouse the interest of the learner. So, as a teacher, we must motivate our student to learn a new thing, or whenever we are starting a new chapter or new topic, we should start our topic in such a way which arouse the interest in the learner. Next primary law is, or principal law is, law of effect. What is law of effect? When a modifiable connection between stimulus and response made and is accompanied or followed by a satisfying state of affair, the connection's strength is increases. When made and accompanied followed by an annoying state of affair, its strength is decreases. Means if any stimulus which pushes us, which force us to do response, if this outcome is satisfying, we will learn anything very effectively. And when the outcome is annoying or not pleasurable, our mental setup, our physical one will not learn new thing. The educational implication. What is the educational implication of this theory? So, formation of good habit and attitude. We can we can inculcate a good habit and attitude with the with the help of this law. Pleasant experience and emotions, we can say, we can learn, we can give a knowledge of any topic from easy to difficult. Eradication of delinquent behavior. In this theory, we can, with the help of this theory, we can eradicate any negative behavior which we are observing that learner is having. We can praise and encouragement. Next one is third primary law is law of exercise. This law of exercise is divided into two parts: law of use and law of disuse. When a modifiable connection is made between a situation and response, that connection strength is, other things being equal, and increase. When a modifiable connection is not made between situation and response during a length of time, that connection's strength is decreases. It means when we practice more and more, we will able to connect that stimulus to that response, and whenever we don't do more practice, then the connection between stimulus and that response will be decreases, and we will started forgetting that thing. So the educational implication of this theory is formation of good habit. We can inculcate a good habit by practicing the useful thing again and again. And in a negative way, we use this theory in the eradication of bad habit as well. We can use in educational setup for correct pronunciation by speaking any word again and again with correct voice modulation and correct pronunciation. We can learn how to pronounce that thing. We can improve the handwriting of the any person by using this law. We can develop any skill with the help of this theory or law. Now, the secondary law or subordinate law, which is first one is principle of multiple response. This rule states that in any learning situation, a person make multiple response. So due to this, some response which are not helpful in achieving the goal, the person forget them and he learned the response which is helpful in achieving the goal. The pedagogical utility of this rule is that students should be motivated to learn something by themselves in a classroom. So by we can say by doing more trial, the error is decreases gradually, and we can learn a correct response, or we can fix that correct response. Next one is principle of mental set or attitude. This we can say this secondary law belongs to a law of readiness. This law states that the process of teaching depends to a great extent on the mental attitude of the person. How the mental setup of any learner is. Mental attitude means readiness to do any work originated from. Mental attitude or attitude does not only tell what a person will do, but it also shows what will be satisfying with and what will be not satisfying. So we can say how the learner is ready to learn, how his mental setup is ready to learn, this principle, this theory, this law state. Then next one is principle of prepotency of element. So what is prepotency of element? According to this law, there are both coherent as inconsistent element in any learning presentation. Or we can say there are relevant as well as irrelevant element in any learning presentation whose strength or significance is different. So as a teacher, one separate the coordinating element because their significance is relatively high. We must use a relevant statement in our learning, in our teaching presentation. Irrelevant statement we must exclude in teaching learning process because the significance of relevant statement is high. Principle of analogy or similarity. According to this rule, a person responds to a new situation in the same way which is similar to his previous experience or already learned response. So this theory, this is a part of transfer of learning. How much transfer will take place in this new situation from the previously learned situation depends on the number of common elements in both the situation. The last one is principle of associative shifting. According to this law, any response which a person has the capacity to do can also be generated by a new stimulus. If the same response is produced continuously in the same situation, in the midst of some change, then in the end, the same response is also generated by completely new response. This associative shifting has given a basis for operant conditioning theory, which was given later by Pavlov. Now the educational implication. In the process of teaching and learning, the main task of any teacher is to see what things he likes or she likes to be remembered or forgotten by his student. So after this, he must try to strengthen the bond or connection between the stimuli and response of those things which are to be remembered through repetition, drill, and reward. For forgetting, the connection should be weakened through disuse or annoying result. The child must be made ready to learn. His interest, attitude, and mental preparation is essential for smooth sailing in a teaching learning process. Or we can say this is a part of law of readiness. The next one is, it is also emphasized that the past experience and learning give an adequate base for new learning. Therefore, the teacher should try to make use of previous knowledge and experience of a student. The child must also be encouraged to see similarity and dissimilarities between the different kind of response to stimuli with the help of comparison and contrast. Should try to apply the learning of something in one situation to the other similar situation. The child should be encouraged to do his work independently. He must try the various solution of problem before arriving at the correct one. But every care should be taken to see that he or she may not waste his time and energy. He should not be allowed to repeat his mistake and proceed blindly without using his reasoning and thinking power and utilize the past learning experience. This was the educational implication of Thorndike theory of learning. Now the critical evaluation. So as we know, Thorndike introduced the concept of reinforcement and was the first to apply psychological principle in the area of learning. So we can say the word reinforcement as well as reward was given by the Thorndike, which was later used by the Skinner in operant conditioning theory. His research led to many theories and law of learning, such as operant conditioning. Skinner, like Thorndike, put animals in boxes and observed them to see what they were able to learn. It means Thorndike has given the base on the basis of his theory. Pavlov and Skinner developed the other two theory, which is also based on behavioristic approach. So B.Ed Skinner built up Thorndike's principle to develop his theory of operant conditioning. Skinner's work involved the systematic study of how the consequences of behavior influence its frequency in future. He introduced the concept of reinforcement, both positive as well as negative, and punishment to describe how consequences can modify behavior. So we can we can take away from this theory is Thorndike's theory of learning emphasized the significance of reinforcement and punishment in shaping behavior. That stating that behavior that is followed by the positive consequences is more likely to be repeated, while behavior that is followed by negative consequences is less likely to be repeated, which is law of effect. Thorndike theory has given a significant impact on modern psychology, particularly in the area of behaviorism. And the principle of reinforcement and punishment that are the central of his theory are still widely used in behavior modification and therapy. Thorndike theory has been instrumental in the development of applied behavior analysis, a therapy that is widely used to treat a variety of conditions, including autism and developmental disability. Thorndike experiment work with animals, particularly his development on the puzzle box, provided insights into the role of reinforcement in learning and behavior and helped to lay the groundwork for the development of operant conditioning theory. So this was all about Thorndike's the theory of learning, which is also known as trial and error theory. And thank you so much.